Hello everyone. Now this is a mono black deck that plans to get down the front side of Tergrid and then make our opponent sacrifice a few things so we can steal them. I didn't get to play a lot of Kaldheim, so this is kind of one of my bucket list decks for the format. Plus we've got some new cards in Neon Dynasty that I think can give this plan some more legs than it's had in the past. Now, building around Tergrid can be a huge trap. Focus too much on discard and you can end up losing to an opponent top deck. And the thing they discard might be bad, and maybe they're holding on to some lands, so we don't really get to do anything good in exchange for using some of our precious discard spells. The Lantern side of Tergrid is a nice, inevitable win condition, but it can often be too slow. Here, I decided we were just going to worry about the sacrifice portion of Tergrid's ability on the front side, especially since we can pair it with Invoke Despair and Soul Shatter. The added bonus of this simpler approach also means that if we don't do the Tergrid thing, we basically have a mono-black control deck stapled to the other side of our main game plan. Everything here is pretty good on its own, and adding Tergrid is the icing on the cake, especially as you'll see in some of these games where Tergrid can even steal some enchantments that get sacrificed from Invoke Despair. If you only get to watch one game, check out the first match versus green-white enchantments, where we get lucky and steal just the right enchantments at the last possible moment. Anyway, let's break it down a little bit. First off, we got 2 Bloodchief's Thirsts. Complementing that, we've also got 2 Infernal Grasp. We need a little bit of direct removal to handle the early game, especially against decks like Naya runes, green-white enchantments, and mono-white decks. Next up, a familiar package. We've got some Eyetwitch, some Shambling Ghast to go along with Deadly Dispute. This is really important to make sure that we hit our lands so that we can get up to 5 mana to cast Invoke Despair and Tergrid, respectively. Now, as for board wipes, we've only got 2 copies of the Meathook Massacre and 3 of Blood on the Snow. Now, Meathook Massacre is a fantastic card, and you've seen that before, and we've got some Blood on the Snow in here to complement just the sprinkling of Planeswalkers that we're using, mostly for card draw and utility, but also just another way to get Tergrid back. I mean, if the point of the deck is to use Tergrid to return some of our opponent's sacrificed things to our side, then I want to make sure Tergrid is on the board as much as possible. Next up, we've got the Celestus and Soul Transfer. Now, with Soul Transfer, you just need a way to exile things occasionally. Kami of Transience is a huge annoyance for us, so want to make sure we can take care of that if we can. Plus, there are going to be times where between the Celestus and the treasures that we're generating, that we actually have an enchantment and an artifact on the board in order to use both parts of Soul Transfer. So I mentioned the smattering of Planeswalkers we've got in here. Mostly that's just for some interstitial card draw, and we can use those in a pinch if our main game plan of Tergrid and Invoke Despair doesn't quite come off. But the added bonus of Professor Onyx, way up on the top end, is that the sacrifice ability paired with Professor Onyx kind of goes nicely with Tergrid in that you play the Tergrid on turn 5 and possibly Professor Onyx on turn 6 and get to use the sacrifice ability. We've got kind of a standard lesson sideboard to go along with the Eyetwitch. The deck was surprisingly fun. I really wanted to get to use that particular ability of Tergrid. I built some decks in the past where the sort of discard route didn't really go as planned. Discard isn't like the strongest strategy to use, and needing a creature to stick around to make that work wasn't really a great game plan. But this was kind of fun. We did get to steal some things, and also just having the back end of like a decent mono-black control deck in there as well allows you to get some games where, hey, maybe you don't draw Tergrid, maybe you don't draw the right sacrifice spell at the same time, and you can still just win some games that way, which, is always nice. So let's get into some games right now, but first of all, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
For the sake of all Innistrad, my will must be obeyed. You can deal with my servant. I'm busy. You wish to know my secrets? Very well. You will serve me well.
Stop fighting till the people are safe again. Woohoo! Watch me heat up the dance floor! Let's bring things up to a simmer. This little candle's gonna set your world on fire. Give a toast? I'd love to. Come on, Chandra. Think of something good.